Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Brytemap. There I am. Hello. Thanks for joining today on the Brytemap Scout demo and the introduction of Scout. So my name is Brian Lopez. I'm the CEO and founder of Brytemap, and along with me today is Scott Denholm, Chief Operating Officer of Brytemap and former Executive Director of METRC. We're going to take you through a whole presentation today on Scout and the power of RFID in your facility as you use METRC. If you're an operator operating in a METRC state, you know some of the challenges that you face in ensuring proper inventory and compliance as it relates to your plant and package tag inventory. And one of the things that we're going to do today is to share with you what we can do to help you in terms of ensuring 100% compliance with your inventory and being able to do scans in literally seconds as opposed to hours. So we're glad to have you with us today, and hopefully you find this material and content to be worthwhile. So Scott, I'm going to let us go to the next slide, and I'm going to give everybody just a quick overview of how things are going to go today with the webinar. So the agenda is going to be as follows. We're going to talk a little bit about Brytemap. We're going to go through some compliance headaches. We're going to talk about what is RFID. Scott's going to give us a crash course on RFID and how it works. And that will dovetail hopefully very nicely into something about Scout and what we can do there, and exactly what we can do as far as a demo or the power of the RFID scan. Lastly, we'll get into who benefits from it and what potential next steps are. And we're also going to talk about an end of year deal that we have for you all. So as I mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Brytemap. I started Brytemap back in 2016. And since then, we have gotten into a number of states utilizing METRC. So currently, Brytemap is running in 9 states across the US. We have a mix of POS retail platform that we have called Greener, and we also have Scout. We're going to be talking about Scout today. Leading up to last year, in the middle of 2019, Scott Denholm joined our team as Chief Operating Officer, and prior to that, Scott was the was the Executive Director and founder of METRC. So we've got a very knowledgeable team of individuals on our staff, and we're really very fortunate to have not just Scott, but a team of developers that are really invested in this product and the future of the product. We know where we can take it. We're really excited about the future direction of this. Next slide, Scott. All right, so Scott, this is where I'm going to turn it over to you. There's no better person than to speak to some of the compliance issues and the headaches that operators face on a daily basis. With 10 years in this business prior to Scott joining Brytemap, Scott, you were the Executive Director of METRC. You worked with state regulators on a daily basis, but you also heard a tremendous amount from operators around what they would like to see and some of the challenges that they faced. So turning it over to you, talk a little bit about the compliance headaches and some of the things that you're looking forward to bringing to the market with Brytemap.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. And then I appreciate that lead in. And just taking it back to that 10 years, the original concept for what was METRC was, and the use of the RFID was really born from most of the requests that were coming from industry participants early on. This is back in 2010. When we met with, and I was a private consultant at that time, when we met with state regulators, and then the state regulators in turn met with us, and we went out and met with a number of industry people, there was a great concern for how state investigators and inspectors would interact with the crops, with the plants. As everybody I'm sure is aware, these plants are expensive, they're finicky, they're not easy to grow or work with, they're very shocked easily. So the concept behind how do you do an audit, how do you do that inventory management, and limit that interaction was really born more from the industry requirements and grower requirements for making sure that the plants were not touched or really interacted with it as little as possible. So that's why RFID was really chosen. It was more of a goal for the state to limit the interaction and more of a goal for the industry to not have these plants damaged. So, when you look at that as a primary motivating factor, you really were in a position where we wanted to eliminate or limit antiquated methods of inventory management. Things like using clipboards and paper and pencils, or even barcode. Even though barcode is an auto data capture technology, you still have to get right on top of it. And you can imagine trying to read 4, 5, 10 feet in between a number of plants. Trying to get to a barcode would be virtually impossible. So, the idea behind RFID was really born from that. The other thing is lost time. When you look at some of the more traditional methods of inventory management, like I said, you have a lot of people using Excel files or barcode scanners or, print-offs and walking around physically doing inventory. Your time spent is just massive. So, when I was back on the regulated side, I met with a number of states and I heard commentary anywhere from, 4 inspectors, 10 hours to do a 10 or 12,000 grow plant facility. And that was just, it was just an inordinate amount of time. So the idea with RFID, again, is that amount of time could be reduced down to one investigator in about an hour or two to do an entire 10,000 plant facility. And now we get 100% accuracy because we can scan all the plants, and if anything's missing, we know what's missing. But you also have the ability to not touch the plants and make this process much cleaner. So your efficiency levels go up, the amount of time you spend in cultivation goes down if you're an investigator inspector, and then you have a much more better picture of what's going on. A lot of times, if those plants were missing, plants were accidentally destroyed, or they were showing as destroyed in the system, or they were in the wrong locations, these things could all result in fines. I've seen fines anywhere from $1,000 up to $5,000, depending on the state that you're in. So, 1, 2, 3 accidents in 10,000, which is, statistically pretty reasonable. But in a regulated environment can still be extraordinarily expensive, resulting in a lot of hefty fines. So, and trying to avoid those things. And then, just from a basic cycle counting standpoint, as a grower or operator, I really want to know what kind of plants I have. I've seen, depending on the value of a plant and the state you're in, plants can be worth anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000, depending on how you're growing them. So, I missed a plant or two. Well, that's anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 of inventory that you're not accounting for. So, looking at what you're trying to do, trying to manage inventories, as coming from a regulated world, coming from the regulator side, saw all those things coming to pass. But in reality, moving over to this side, working with Brian and Brytemap, understanding the goals of true inventory management and compliance, trying to bring RFID solutions that will help folks in the industry take advantage of this technology and use it to their own advantage. So really the goals with Scout are to how do we eliminate these compliance headaches and drive profitability, which is first and foremost what we want to do for our customer base. So understanding that that's kind of an overarching goal, and that's what we're trying to address. I've been asked a number of times about what is the technology, the RFID technology. So I want to touch base on that and explain to everybody what's out there. The first thing is all of these METRC tags that are in the 15 states where METRC is are an open standard technology. So for anybody that wants to geek out about it like me, you can look up ISO, International Standards Organization, ISO 18,000 Part 6B. That is the standard that those tags come from. Okay, they're for some people, you might, if you're in the RFID world or have heard about it before, they're also referred to as EPC Gen 1 Class 2, or the Electronic Product Code Gen 1 Class 2. These tags, again, are part of an open standard. It's a commercial off-the-shelf technology. So anybody can put together technology to read these tags or write to these tags, etc. So these are considered a passive technology. So there's no active componentry on the tag. There's a lot of RFID out there, so it's important that everybody understands what you're talking about and making sure that you have it all correct. RFID can be anywhere from an active tag that you would see on a car for like a toll pass or something like that. Those tags can be $60, $70 a piece. You have card access that you would see at a hotel that you would see. So there's another form of it. So there's a number of different RFID technologies out there. This is, like I said, is a passive open standard technology. The way that it works is you will see, and Brian is going to show you this in the demonstration later, is you will see that the RFID device, the handheld device that he's going to show, that actually generates the RFID signal. That signal in turn powers up the RFID tag that you would put on a plant or package. That chip on the tag is actually turned on, and what's programmed on is what comes back. Now, what METRC puts on that is a 24-digit alphanumeric number, and that's all that's on that tag, nothing else. And what Scout reads is the ID number of that tag. So once that Scout transmits that RF signal, it turns on the tag turns itself on, reads that serial number off it, and then transmits that back out. Scout in turn picks that up and then compares it to what is in the database. So just a couple of key attributes to this RFID technology is, again, it is passive, so there's no active componentry to it. So it's also, the device itself is governed by FCC standards. It's FCC Part 15, which is the same governing standard that is used for cell phones. So the Scout does not transmit or emit any more power than you would see on a normal cell phone. And then it reads the tag. So, and again, the only thing on those tags that's put on there is that 24-digit alphanumeric number. Couple of things, the limitations of it. Since it is what is called a passive technology, people have asked me, can I read this through walls? Can I read it through a vehicle, etc. The reality is it has at most about a 15, maybe 20-foot read range, depending on the environment you're operating in. It is very susceptible to shielding. So if you wrap your hands around the tag, it won't work. If you have the tag buried in dirt and covered in water, it's not going to read properly. But if it's out in the open space in a nice cooperative environment, it will read very well. If you have a room, it's just like drywall walls, it is possible to read a tag through the wall. If it's a metal or cinder block wall, it will not read. So, RFID tags inside vehicles will not read. So, it's like I said, a passive technology. It's very useful. It's a good supply chain technology. Many big retailers and manufacturers use this technology on a regular basis. For instance, Walmart, Kohl's, Target, they all use it for retail inventory management. And some companies like Boeing, Airbus, Coca-Cola Enterprises, companies like that, International Paper, they will use this also to do RFID tracking of products in their inventory. So that's basically how the technology works. And if there's questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer those. So what Scout is designed to do is it's designed to take advantage of that RFID technology. So the way this works is Scout is connected would be connected to your facility via the Wi-Fi in your facility. It connects to the Wi-Fi, which in turn connects to Scout Cloud Services, which is a web-based service that we connect to METRC. Now we are legally allowed to connect to METRC. We have an API key that's provided to us by METRC, just like all of the licensees have API keys that are active. We utilize your API key in conjunction with our API key. An important attribute to understand is Scout in this compliance configuration is a read-only technology. So in other words, we're not writing any information to METRC at this point. We are just connecting that, bringing it down, displaying it on the handheld device so that you can see it, and then Scout turns on and it reads the RFID tags and reconciles. So everything that you have in your facility and the way your facility is mapped out will be downloaded and displayed on the screen just as you have it in METRC. And then whatever you have in the rooms, as you use that RFID technology, will be displayed and verified on Scout so you can make 100% verification of everything you have. So you're actually connecting, you're downloading, you're reconciling, and then you can actually do the process of reconciling and looking for exception reporting. Now, the important thing to keep in mind that's a very important attribute of the way this works is we have a lot of people that use the device, and they're constantly looking to make sure that, it's 100% here, it's 100% there. What you really want to do with Scout, and what you're really trying to find, is the exceptions or the mistakes that are going to occur. So if you accidentally killed a plant in METRC but it's still live, if you have it located in the wrong room, if it's in the wrong phase, if it's in flowering when it should be in veg, or vice versa. Really what Scout is designed to do is help you identify exceptions and reconcile and fix those exceptions, right? Because, we all know in the world of regulated product, you're not going to get a gold star, and they're not going to give you a pat on the back for everything you did right. They're looking for the mistakes. So what Scout is designed to do is really help you find those mistakes and make sure that what you're accounting for is accurate and true. If you have a mistake that's made, and you've run across an exception, a plant in the wrong room or in the wrong phase or destroyed, you will actually be able to use Scout to triangulate and locate where that tag is down to within a few inches. So literally, if you have a 5,000 square foot room and you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10,000 plants in that room, the Geiger counter feature, which Brian is going to demonstrate for you, will actually help you locate and find that rogue missing package or plant. And that's what Scout really does exceptionally well. So Scout also is, we're releasing a series of advanced filtering, because what we've discovered as we've been developing this is that in a very large room, you could have 4 or 5 different strains of product, and of those 4 or 5 strains, they may be in veg or flowering, so you could have them in multiple phases. So what we allow you to do is use those different things that you're doing and select your own criteria for how you want to do an inspection in that particular room. And this is all, again, connected with a real-time connection to METRC that gives you that immediate exception reporting. Scout and RFID together, again, gives you a true look at what's going on in your inventory. Everything that you see in METRC is downloaded and can be downloaded, or is downloaded and displayed on the device. So it's not just a tag number, it's actually the room, the phase, the location, the category, the quantity. If you're in a package, lab test results, everything that you're seeing that you have in METRC is accessible by Scout on that device. So Scout works together in conjunction with METRC to give you that true picture in inventory management. Scout is portable. It's a little bit heavier than a cell phone. It's very compact. It's real-time connected with METRC to your network. So there's no need to interfere with your plants. There's no need to touch anything. You get to leverage the RFID that you're spending money on and putting in your facility, something beyond just doing what the inspectors want. You would usually see at least a 10-time improvement in inventory taking. So if it takes you a day to do a room, it should only take you about an hour or less to do a room. You can do instant reconciliation, so all this is happening in real time, and it gets you to 100% accuracy, which you can't do by hand counting or with barcode. You can triangulate and find and locate missing tags or exceptions, and you can report package movements. All of the information that you are connecting is downloadable into a CSV format, and everything that you want to do and need to do in METRC can actually be uploaded into a CSV. So while we don't have a connection to METRC right now that's doing those movements on the device, you can still use those things to download information and do uploads of CSV files to METRC. So it still can have another positive aspect on your business. You can locate and resolve discrepancies, you improve your cycle counting and your reporting, and you can run scans and resolve issues using date ranges, RFID tag numbers, strains, locations. All of those things are used and filterable on the device. And right now, I'm going to turn it back over to Brian, and he is going to take over and give you a really cool demo.
All right.
Brian?
Well, thank you, Scott.
Oh, there you go.
Appreciate the presentation there. So I'm going to turn this over and share with you on my screen Scout. I think everybody can see it here now. Before we get started with the scan, I'm going to share with you. I'm just going to turn my screen over to myself and the webcam. This is the Scout device. So what you see here is a Zebra TC20 mobile computer with an RFID 2000 scanner. This is a detachable a handheld computer here. Basically what it is an Android. It's an Android computer. It's almost like a phone. And what you'll have is this device here that you can then plug into the handheld just like that, and you're ready to go. So as Scott said, it's a very lightweight, compact RFID handheld tool. Very effective in terms of scanning up to about a 15-foot radius. So you're going to get a very powerful scan very quickly with this. So one of the nice features that we'll share with you is how we can adjust the antenna settings depending on how your building is, how your rooms are laid out. So on the screen here, I'm going to go ahead and log in with a password, and at this point, Scout will then begin to initiate. And so the first screen that you'll come to as a user will be to select your organization. So for the sake of this demo today, we're going to be calling this the demo organization. And once you have your organization and that information has been verified, you'll click next. And then here is where we get into multiple facility license numbers. And so if you are a user and you have multiple facility license numbers within METRC, so this could be a license for cultivation for medical, cultivation for recreational or adult use. It could be a license for processing or a license for retail. This drop-down menu will give you all of the different licenses that you could potentially audit. So a new user to Scout will give us not just their API key, their administrative API key from METRC, but also the facility license numbers that they want to audit, right? And so we charge by license number. So we could have one, we could have 10 or 20, it doesn't really matter. But this is where we would offer up that option in order to scan what particular facility you're going to want. We'll click next here, we'll confirm the license, and we're going to say done. And so at this point on this part of the screen, you'll see the last sync. This is where Scout will then go out and query METRC for your most recent package or plant tag information according to room if you're a cultivator, and according to the room if you're having, if you have packages in different rooms. It all comes down to how you have laid out your rooms within METRC, right? We're just going to mimic what's in METRC. So this synchronization allows us to pull all the information down to the device, and at that point you'll have a real-time copy on board this device in order to start your audit. So we'll go into the begin audit. We're going to press this begin audit button here on the bottom right. You'll notice that we have 3 rooms for this demo environment setup. We have a demo room, we have an empty room, and then we have an unnamed room. And again, to reiterate, it'll mimic what you have in METRC. So in the demo room, we see we have 24 plants. We have audited none of them. But if we go to click show all in the bottom right-hand corner, just above the barcode button, you'll see that here's all of our plants. So right now we currently are in a room that is growing an AK-47 strain. It's in a vegetative state. We could also select a particular tag and drill down for some more information on it. And we could see that this one is in the demo room, it's vegetative, this is the strain and the corresponding RFID tag. If you press the reconcile button, you'll get even more information, which will then go into, this will query METRC for you again, and it'll query METRC to give you some more information on that plant. So this becomes really important for folks that are using it in a packaging situation. If you're a processor where you're going to want to see that if you select a particular package, you're going to want to see where the test results were, and what the weight of it is and things like that. So becomes a really nice way for you to glean a lot of information right on the handheld, not when you're sitting in front of METRC on a computer screen. So we'll click OK. We'll go back out to this main area here where we can see what we've been able to audit thus far. Now, I talked briefly about the antenna strength. And so one of the things that is really important is that if you are in a facility that has multiple rooms that may be adjoining one another, and those rooms are separated by steel or block or concrete, that's really an ideal situation to use the antenna strength at 100%. So on the top right-hand corner here, you see this little box with a little wave thing coming out of the top corner of it, and that's the antenna setting. So you'd press that, and then at this point, you would go and look at what your antenna strength is here. The antenna strength is at 100 because, as I laid out a scenario to you, I'm in a facility, let's say, that is corrugated steel, it's got concrete block or heavy insulated walls. RF signals can be very difficult to get into picking up things from another room, perhaps. However, when you have rooms that are drywall or plastic dividers or something to that effect that may be somewhat porous to an RF signal getting through it, you're going to want to bring this thing down to something less than 100%. So I'll just simply press my finger on the screen, and you can just slide it down with your finger. And so here we can bring this antenna strength to roughly 50%. So in the case of where we're today, I'm going to keep it at 100% because one of the things we really want to do is demonstrate to you how powerful the signal is and how quickly we can scan these tags. But keep in mind, you have some flexibility here as a user. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to turn this away. I'm going to get over to this side of the camera. And what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to just sit behind here. And you see me in the back here. I have a number of plants set up, and each of these plants have an RFID tag. And so we're looking for 24 tags in this room. So what I'll do is I either have a capability to scan of either pulling the trigger on this device, or I can just simply press the scan button on the bottom left-hand corner. If you're in a room with thousands of plants and it's going to take you a little bit to get through that, and you don't want to hold your finger down on a trigger for minutes on end, then I would advise just to press the scan button, and then you can go ahead and do what you'd like. So in this matter, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to press this, the trigger real quick on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and I am off the trigger now. So that was about 1 second where Scout was able to pick up those tags. So that's at 100% strength. Now, what I'll do to give you some sort of a comparison, if we were to dial back the antenna, let's bring it down to 50%, close to 50%. And then if I'm sitting here, you'll see how different the scan will take, okay? So I'm pressing the trigger now, and we're kind of ticking upwards, but I'm having to move around and get a little bit closer to the plant. So as you can see here, there's a lot of flexibility in what we give you. And so sometimes it will be a situation, as I said, where you'll be able to walk through and just gather them all, and you'll be done very quickly, but it's dependent on how your buildings are built. So on this particular scan, at roughly 50%, we were able to locate 22 of the 24 plants, but most importantly, we found exceptions, and that's the one thing that we're looking for. It's one thing to be able to get most of your plants, but what about those exceptions? These are the types of things that the state inspectors are looking for. This is the types of things that you want to be looking for, because you want to make sure you have 0 exceptions. And to Scott's comments earlier about tags being misplaced or tags not being moved in METRC properly, could be in the wrong room. What we'll do is we're going to go ahead and press the button here on the show all, and I see that we have 2 tags. I see we have 2 tags here. One is a wrong location, so let's go ahead and take a look at that one. and it's named 0025. So we know that roughly speaking, this should not be, it's close to these tags 0 through 24, but this particular tag of 25 should have been moved into the unnamed room. We're in the demo room right now, but Scout has enough intelligence built in to where if it does pick up a tag, it's going to be able to say, hey, wait a minute, I scanned it, it's in this room, but it shouldn't be here, it should be in this other room, which is good to know, because clearly then we can go in, and if we want to know a little bit more information about that plant tag, for whatever reason, we can go in and press the reconcile and get more information. The other unknown tag is this ending 9765, and clearly this is sort of out of our number sequencing, so something's definitely up. It could be a package tag, it could be a really old tag, it could be anything of the sort, right? So we now have been able to pick up a few unrecognized tags, and in addition to that, we have walked through this big room and we haven't been able to get all 24 plants tagged or scanned. So let's go to show all. And one of the things we'll share, what we can display for you, is on this top right-hand corner, we can show you all the verified plants. So we see 22 of the plants that have been verified, but let's look at the unverifieds. So this gives you an idea as to what Scout didn't pick up. So now you have a choice. You can either walk through again, or what you can start doing is looking for the plants with our locate feature. So let's say that we're going to start with plant number 003. And I'm going to press this tag number here, and on the bottom you see where there's a locate button. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to press this locate button, and you'll get a Geiger counter type of sound that will allow for us to start scanning and looking for that tag. And so as you get closer to the tag, you'll be able to pick it up, and right here you'll see it, and you'll have visual identification on that particular tag. And I'll just go ahead and put that tag number right up here for everybody to see, and hopefully you guys can see 3 in there. All right, so fantastic. We were able to locate that tag. We know it's in the room, thank goodness. And then now we can go back to this one screen here, and there's a little box on the left-hand side. We'll just go ahead and press that button down and do a visual verification and go ahead and check it off. We can repeat this for plant number 9 in the same way. We've been able to go through, we've been able to locate it, and you guys get the point now, right? So we've successfully verified that we have all the plants or packages in the room, and we want to do the same thing with these plants that we found in the wrong location. So it's sort of like a Marco Polo thing, if you will, right? You turn it on, you're in a big facility. The closer that you get to the tag, it's going to be able to help you locate it. And for a situation like a 9765 type of tag, which appears to be a package tag or a rogue tag, we're going to be able to grab that tag and go in and make the changes within METRC. So let's say we go through all of our rooms, we're able to get some successful audits. One more I'll do with you, which kind of goes to the point about exceptions. We're in an unnamed room, then according to METRC, there's only one tag in this room. So if I press the trigger here real quick, you'll notice, oh, okay, so I'm going to go into this room and I got my one tag, but I also got a bunch of exceptions. And all these exceptions will then show up as saying, wait a minute, you're in an unnamed room, but I'm getting all these tags and I'm supposed to be in the demo room. You get the point. So one of the last things that we'll give you is the ability to audit or to query METRC one more time at the end of an audit. And so the scenario would be like this. Let's say that you are going out into your very large facility of 20,000 tags, and you start your audit at 9 a.m. and you're walking through, you're interrupted, you have a call to take, a meeting to take, you've got lunch, you've got whatever happening, and you are auditing, but you don't complete that audit until the end of the day. And the end of the day could be, 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And in between that hour of 9 and 5, there's folks that are making changes in METRC. Plant tags, package tags are moving in and out. And so changes being made. And so what is deemed an exception by Scout because of a wrong location or a status being different, perhaps that exception at 9 or 10 a.m. is not one later in the day. So we give you this capability of doing a final check with METRC so that you can actually call the audit really complete and really get the maximum amount of accuracy. So on the bottom screen here, you'll see this reconcile button. And what I'll do is I'll press the reconcile button. Scout will then query METRC one more time and go through every single one of your tag exceptions and effectively ask METRC if it's still an exception. If it's an exception, it'll stay one. If it's not, it'll disappear, and you're basically left with a final list of what you need to take action on within METRC. So the last step in this whole audit process is that once you've completed it, you'll press the download CSV button. That download CSV button is really the final phase for you to be able to take all this information out of Scout and to put it into a CSV file that you can do whatever you want with. You can upload it to whatever seed to sale software system you're currently running. If you want to upload it to METRC, you could do all types of different things with it. We've had users that use it for taking rolls of plants or rolls of new tags before they start putting them in the ground, and they want to scan a whole bunch of them and then take a CSV upload and upload that to METRC to create their planting. And then on the reverse end of things, if they've harvested plants and they have a whole bunch of tags that have basically been, harvested and put off to the side in a big bucket, and they want to take all these tags and move them in from where they were, from a flowering state to a harvest state, the CSV will allow you to kind of do that. So there's some cool shortcuts that you can create for yourself within METRC with it. So the last thing is we're going to go to the download. I'll press done. I'll go out to our Scout screen. You'll see that I have Google Sheets and Google Drive set up. And the reason for that is that Scout is an Android application. So all of your updates will come off of the Google Play Store. And because it's that, we really tried to, create a path of least resistance for people by allowing them to download a CSV file to Google Sheets, and then subsequently you can store that in your Google Drive. If we select Sheets and we go to our latest audit, what we'll do is we'll bring this up, and then now you have an output file, like I said, that you can really manipulate. So on this first column, you'll see that we have each of the corresponding RFID tags that were in METRC, the type that of it is. It could either be a plant or a package, the strain, the development stage that it's in, could be veg, could be flower, could be anything. Location of where we went to, the time that we synchronized with METRC, the time that we began the audit, the corresponding license number, the company that that this audit's going in for, the individual who did the audit, and whether the tag was actually read and verified. If it says true, you know that you have a good positive read and everything is good there. If it's not, it's false. You'll see down here on line 26. And then we also give you some comments for whether it was a wrong location or whatever the exception was that we found. So at that point, we really can call the audit complete, and that is effectively what Scout is. Hopefully that made a lot of sense for you guys. It's a very, very fast, effective way of doing it, as opposed to spending a lot of time with Scout or with being in front of a computer trying to make all this stuff happen. So that is Scout in a nutshell. And I know we've got some questions coming up, so appreciate you guys doing that for us. And we're going to turn it back over to Scott. Scott, just stand by here, and
yes, sir.
We're going to present it back to you in just a hot second, okay?
Mm-hmm. So just kind of finishing up, the benefits. I think we've talked about the benefits and you've seen them. You can audit all of your tag plant inventory or your package inventory. You can quickly read and locate each and every plant or package in rooms. You can find those rogue or missing plants or packages. You can reconcile your inventory. You can upload CSVs from METRC or from Scout into METRC, so you can automate some of those processes that you're doing manually now. You can eliminate, which is the most important thing, is eliminate reporting inaccuracies and avoid potential inventory-related fines and issues. Processors quickly locate all your tag packages, regardless of where they're at, quickly scan your incoming shipments for accuracy, right? So you don't have to necessarily break open every box. You can actually hold the handheld up to a box and read your inventories. You can reconcile and adjust and make all your adjustments, and you can eliminate reporting inaccuracies and again, avoid potential inventory-related fines. RFID as a technology was designed to reduce cost, right? This is, you've got a lot of companies out there that were involved in these things. Zebra Technologies, Motorola, Honeywell, IBM. There's a number of companies that have been working on this technology for supply chain and logistics for a number of years, so you get to take advantage of everything that's been done with that. You get the immediate reporting. It's a very scalable tool. We have a whole product roadmap for future things that we're going to be doing with it. They're going to be even further enhancements down the road. You get detailed information. It's very intuitive. Our engineers are some of the youngest and best and brightest in the industry, and they've developed some really, really good user interfaces so that these things are very intuitive and easy to use. And this is really going to be a tool that your risk management people and your compliance people are going to love. It just, again, keeps you accurate and clean. Again, Scout, it's all over the country. Basically, anywhere where METRC is located, Scout's ready to go to work for you. And this Scout, one of the things that most of your IT department and your operations people will love is that the device comes complete with Zebra's OneCare program. It's built into the device, so it's got 100% serviceability to it at no extra cost, no additional cost. It's basically like a no-fault insurance policy. You drop it, you get it wet, it breaks, you throw it in a box, you ship it back to Zebra, they'll repair it and send it back to you. So, and that's, again, all built into the pricing, and we'll walk you through all of that and how that works, and how the Zebra maintenance program works as you come on board. And with that, I'm going to, Brian, kick it back over to you and let you run with the pricing and the program specifics.
Sure. So we charge by the licenses. I had mentioned earlier about facility license numbers. So if you're an operator that has multiple licenses, you're going to find yourself in the bronze, silver, or gold category. The initial license cost is $500 a month, but that includes the cost of which we're amortizing over a 12-month period. That does include the cost of the device. As you add additional licenses, the licenses become less expensive. So it's really built on a tier-based, volume-based type of subscription model. There are price breaks given to prepaid annual deals. So please keep that in mind. So that's the base pricing. Scott, if you can advance to the next slide. One of the nice things we're looking to do for the end of the year, for those that are interested, if you go back one more slide, Scott, that end of year special for us, we're really looking to put as many Scout devices into people's hands as possible. And so the end of year special that we're offering right now, and Scott, I think you just need to go back to one more slide, sorry. The base license, we're going to drop that from $500 a month to $333 a month, and then subsequently you'll see those licenses change. So effectively, what we're doing for you is for a month, for a prepaid annual subscription, you're going to get the cost of the device, the Scout gun, free of charge. That is a $2,000 option. That's a $2,000 value to you. This gun will come with a full 2-year no-fault warranty, and on top of what we have, that's the deployments included and the training services to get you up and running. So with the cost of a free gun, we think that that's a really great deal for folks to be able to take advantage of Scout immediately. And even for those folks that perhaps could be in states that are coming on to METRC early next year, for example, in Oklahoma, this is a great opportunity to get a head start on bringing in a device that's going to save you a lot of time in both, in not just your cultivation facility, but obviously your process facility. So to recap, the numbers are going way down for a monthly number. If you wanted to do a prepaid annual contract, consider that the price of the hardware is going to be given to you free of charge, and the rest of that, the residual, will just simply be your software subscription. Knowing that we're going to be hopefully, I think we're going to be seeing quite a bit of activity. We want to be able to have those orders in-house in place by December 31st to qualify for the special. If you have any questions, please, by all means, feel free to reach out to Scott and I after this call. I hope to hear from each and every one of you about putting together a deal. If there's any further information that you need, you can certainly call us here. The number that's on the screen right now is actually my cell phone number. So you can give that a call. We're open quite a bit. We're on the East Coast, so we're open from 8 to 8 Eastern time. Please feel free to email me at blopez@brytemap.com. Please also visit our website at www.brytemap.com. And with that, I'll take any questions. I do have one question from an attendee, which I'd like to answer, which is, Scout is not designed to do retail item level counting. That is something that would be incredible. But right now, I think that we're probably a little bit of ways away from developing a system that would effectively do item level RFID based inventory management. And Scott, knowing your expertise in RFID, that might be something that you want to chime on as well.
Yeah, it's what you're talking about with item level RFID. Listen, this is the holy grail of all RFID, and I've been working with RFID for over 20 years. Sat on the standards committees and things like that, so that's how far I'm going to date myself. But when you talk to companies like Target and Walmart, Kohl's, those companies have always, they've been in search of that forever and ever. The real question comes down to, is it cost justifiable, right? RFID tags they're just not as cheap as a printed barcode on paper. And when you get into the serialization process with standard UPCs and barcodes, there's no way to differentiate one product from the next. Meaning, if I had a box of vape cartridges of sour diesel vape cartridges, 15 milligram, etc., and I have 50 of them on the shelf, there's no way for me to differentiate from number 1 from number 50 because they all have the same UPC number and it's just a count. So you really need to get into a whole different serialization schema to be able to do it. None of that is impossible, right? It's absolutely very possible to do it, but it's just when I've seen it over the years, it just starts to get a little bit too cost prohibitive. It's really RFID really just needs to come down to the point where it's almost as cheap as ink on paper. Hopefully that answers that.
I think it does. So thank you, Scott, and thanks for the question, Nate. Okay, any other questions? I don't believe I have any more at this point. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for joining this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you are. And thanks for your time. And as I said, hopefully we'll be hearing from each and every one of you. We've got a great offer to put on the table before the end of the year. So thanks for your time again, and we will talk with you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.